Good morning. It's Jonathan Barratt with the Week Ahead report. It's Monday the 24th of May and the current time is 7:09, bright and early this morning. Lots to get onto, lots to do this week. I think it's going to be quite an eventful week. I think the core things at the moment is basically looking at the sovereign debt concerns in Europe and seeing that we've had to live with that for the last couple of weeks, whether or not sentiment towards it is not going to be so negative. And whether we're going to start to now think about this global economic recovery, how that'll affect. And also, we're going to sort of bring into a little bit about what China's doing at the moment too, and what is happening in China at the moment. So I think I think we've got a turning point in certain commodities. So I think it's important that we'll address them and some of the reasons as to why we feel that some of these commodities look relatively cheap. But anyway, let's have a quick wrap of Friday night's events. See what we come up with here. Okay, as usual, we like Bloomberg. It's a good outlay. Obviously, the Dow was up, strong night, up 1.25%, 10,193. The S&P up 16 points. 16 points. The Nasdaq up 25, and the Russell up 9.25. Quite positive there. If you go across to Europe and see what's happened in Europe, there we go. You can see a nice strong move there for the broader index, up only 4 points, but FTSE was still down, DAX was down, the CAC was down, but all on a very, very light basis. So market coming to terms with what's happening there, market coming to terms with what's happening obviously in England. So with that we can see some sensibility, I think, coming back to the market, and I think that is really important. Of the major news, I think this is important. Broader economy, the recovery is still quite broad there, and I think that's quite positive. And I think that's good. This is interesting. European debt crisis won't derail global recovery, getting us to tell China. Well, I mean, that's important because the two largest economies there, America and China, they're sort of working together. Obviously concerns in Europe at the moment, but I think that you've got China trying to slow down its economy and America trying to push its economy. But there are signs in China that it is working. But we're also seeing signs that some resources are getting a little bit more scarce there. So that's going to keep things moving a little bit better as well. So quite interesting there, and we'll talk about a few of the commodities on the back of that. They're probably the major bits of news which I think is worthwhile having a look at. And okay, no, that's it. Yeah, there we go. That's the two major things we've looked at. Okay, so let's get out of that and let's get into a few of the trades and just a bit of what's happening out there. First of all, let's have a look at the economic calendar. Monday, obviously, a little bit of data. New motor vehicles, I think, in Australia would be quite important just to see whether or not things are all right. I think that, to my mind, should be a pretty neutral number. I think people are concerned, so naturally the last 2 weeks of concern, they will pull their horns in terms of any expenditure. Moving across onto Tuesday, I guess the most important ones there I can see is the Schiller home price, the S&P Case-Shiller. That number is pretty good. There actually been some good broader indexes here, which gives us a good idea. Also consumer confidence, keep an eye on that. That's the number we want to see, 59, and that will give me a clue also that recovery is still broad-based, and what's happening in Europe won't affect it. It might slow things, but I think the expectations that this is all okay will be supportive. Also, industrial new orders, obviously in the Eurozone. Let's have a look to see what that happens, but that's perhaps not going to be a good number, but I think in the States we've got to look towards what's happening in America first of all. Wednesday, I guess the most important thing here is durable goods orders in the States, and that's the one we're focused. New home sales as well. Got the Department of Energy gasoline numbers, or oil numbers, which will be very good. And excuse me. And I think I'll talk a little bit about oil a little bit later. So that's important. Coming into Thursday, GDP, personal consumption, once again giving us a bit of a lift. That the recovery is more broad spec. And then coming into the close of the week, Friday, Purchasers Managers Index and the PCE personal income, all very important there. So as you can see, there's a little bit of data out this week which will give us a good indication as to where where certainly some of these where economies will actually move. So let's have a look at a few of the charts and see where we're going. That's the first one I want to have a look at here is the local market, local share market, and as you can see here, it's had a savage fall, and I think we're all concerned as to whether or not. There we go. Let's just get that up a little bit better there so we can see it. Here, we've been down here a few times, and it still looks quite weak. There's not a lot you can do other than treat this as a market that has had a spit to the downside, and it'll form some recovery. And I think that's how a lot of people will treat it. This area here is still showing it's quite weak, but I do know that given what's happened in the States and our expectations there for some of the economics, that I think we could safely say that we've formed some form of support. Here's the chart, but with all these things, it's going to be hard. You are taking a bit of a view, but this is all pretty powerful stuff. Maybe head up around that 400 area and dips back to that 4,300, and 4,250 will be well supported. Naturally, if you are looking for exposure, there your areas of stops are below there, and below there 4,200. But yeah, let's say we can safely say that we've found a range. A breakthrough 4,200, we're wrong. So let's keep an eye on that one. Just having a look at the S&P index. I'm going to look at the daily first, which I like to do. You can see that there's a little bit of a lift there. And I like this formation down here. That's good divergence for me. And that indicates to me that we should get some strength out of this market. So I think that this is a low. It's hit here a few times, and I'm sort of saying that we're at the lower end of that range, and we will be looking to get long a few equities. So let's see what happens there. I think S&P will have a lift over the next couple of days, and I think that's probably the best way to go. So keep close to that one and see how it actually trunks along. But a bit of divergence there. I'm supportive of the market. So that should support our market in terms. Okay. So let's now look at some of the others. Let's look at the dollar index and see what that one looks like. Dollar index on the daily. Just coming up now. There we are. Look, that's an interesting move. Pretty hard to see what's going to happen there. Whether it just continues to come under pressure, but be guided by, I think that is the hourly, yep, be guided by a break through this level here, okay, that low. If we see a break through that 85.50, then we come down to this 84 level. So at the moment, it's right on support here. It could trade up a little bit before going down, but we're going to take this as a bit of a head and shoulders here, and then a movement to the lower end of the range is something which we'll probably look on over the next couple of days. Let's just see why that isn't happening. Okay, there we go. Let's see how the weekly looks. Okay, well there's the weekly there. Just coming back off it. And let's see if we get the daily. There's the daily there. It looks a little bit better. As you can see, the market's saying this perhaps there is a little bit of a top here. And if we break that, we'll get a continuation move a little bit lower. This is all quite negative, so US dollar to weaken a little bit from here. Okay, they should be quite supportive of some of our other trades. Let's have a quick look first at the Aussie, and then we'll go through some of the others. Aussie, I like at these levels, forming around. I like to buy dips on it, and I think we will be okay. Having a look at gold, I think gold on itself looks a little bit harder gold, I think, and it doesn't stand out as well. But I think you can safely say that we're as long as it doesn't break through that 1165, that it's worthwhile having going long. Crude, I do like because I do think that this recovery in itself, we're at the lower end of the ranges, and I think that any dips here look quite solid. Once again, you've got an area where you're wrong through that $68, $68, and copper, which I think is a screaming buy. Just have a look at copper here. And you can see we had a very strong move. Now, inventories in Shanghai, we're going through a series of drawdowns there. And as a result of that, I think we can safely say that China is back in the seat and actually buying. So I'm sort of a little bit encouraged by all of that. And let's see how that travels. But I like this, and I like it heading back to the top side. Okay, the other standout which I want to mention before we move on is to have a look at wheat. Wheat, I think, is a standout as well, and I'll be encouraged by getting into it, and we'll probably do something today. So there's lots of exciting things at the moment. We feel there's a bit of a turnaround. Hopefully we'll be right in terms of gauging this expectation. We are long Aussie. We are long Euro. We're also long copper. And we're going to try and move into some of those grains, probably wheat. And might have a quick look at gold as well. But they're the way we're looking. We'll probably add to our Aussie position and our Euro position at the right time. But stay tuned to the Twitters, because that's when we let people know exactly what we're doing. Okay? So that's about it from me for the week ahead report. Good luck. Let's see how we go. Like always, remember to be safe out there, and just know when you're wrong and know when to take off some of your positions. That's about it. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.